Rudy was right. Criminal John Brennan walked the junk dossier over to Harry Reid to start the Spygate scandal. Should be jailed, by Jim Hoft for the GatewayPundit.com. On Monday, Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani went on with Sean Hannity and dropped another landmine on the deep state. Rudy told Sean Hannity that it was John Brennan who was running the spy ring on Donald Trump. Rudy then added he should be in front of a grand jury. Let's take a quick listen instead of me repeating it, and then we go to Dan Bongino here.
I think that we are running into a real big problem for that. If they try to drag this thing much into September, you've got a very clear violation of the Justice Department policy not to interfere with elections. Comey was just excoriated by Horowitz. It'll just be another list of their irregularities, their unethical performance, their unwillingness to follow sensible rules. They could have done this. We could have concluded this interview thing 2 months ago and decided yes or no on it, and their report can be done by now. It looks like they're slowing down. You know, they're running out the clock.
The media would look at the 2005 tax case that has nothing to do with Russia, nothing to do with the campaign, nothing to do with the president. Manafort tax case from 2005 is the trial of the century. Okay, well, that's really how they're portraying it. But more seriously, when we talk about Strzok and Comey and McCabe and Page and all these other people in the FBI and the DOJ at the highest levels, do you see crimes?
Oh, absolutely. I just told you one. The perjury on the affidavit. I was telling you about Hillary crimes a year before Comey outlined them all. Pretty good.
How did she get off scot-free in all this?
She got off because it was a fixed investigation. A totally phony fixed investigation.
She's still being indicted?
Run by Peter Strzok, who then turns around. The dossier is obtained on the day that they drop the case against Trump, against Hillary. So that case gets dropped, and they have to even up the score
the next day
and go after Trump the next day. Now the reality is, I'm going to tell you, and we don't have the time to go into it. We can do it later. I'm going to tell you who orchestrated the quarterback for all this. It isn't just Strzok. He's a bit of a puppet. Then there's Mueller. He's a puppet. People working for him some of them are really...
Funny feel you're about to drop a bomb on me. Go ahead.
The guy running is Brennan. And he should be in front of a grand jury.
Is Brennan.
Brennan,
CIA director.
Brennan took an affidavit, a dossier, that unless he's the biggest idiot intelligence agent that ever existed, although he never really did much intelligence work, it's false. You can look at it and laugh at it. He peddled it to Harry Reid. That led to the request for the investigation. So he takes a false affidavit, a false dossier. He gets the senators involved, a couple of Republican senators, and they demand an investigation. Totally phony investigation. Now, why can't we get an investigation when there are clear facts showing possible violations of the law?
Why can't we?
Even in the order appointing Mueller, which is completely illegitimate, they don't point out any crime. You have to point out a crime under the independent counsel regulations. They don't point out. We have lots of crimes, and we can't get Sessions to move and appoint an independent counsel. He's recused from it. He's recused of everything. And Rosenstein is too much involved in it, and they're possible witnesses.
Rosenstein signed the last FISA warrant.
Well, that's why he's a possible witness and possible anything else.
Mr. Mayor, great to see you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Independent counsel to investigate the investigators.
And on Wednesday night, Dan Bongino filled in the blank spaces on the page. Bongino described how former CIA Director John Brennan maneuvered Congress and the FBI to launch the most corrupt and criminal spying activity in the history of the United States. Let's take a quick listen here.
Dan Bongino is a former Secret Service agent and the author of the new book, Spygate, The Attempted Sabotage of Donald J. Trump. Dan, thanks a lot for coming on tonight. It seems to me if the press has any role at all, it's to make certain that people who've amassed an enormous amount of power to affect your life, ought to be under relentless scrutiny. And yet what they're telling us on the other channels all day long is that it's somehow immoral for us to ask obvious questions like, why would John Brennan have a security clearance as an NBC employee? Why are they tamping down any effort to ask obvious questions about what our government is doing?
Well, you would think so, Tucker, but we're dealing with a modern-day Pravda. You understand that John Brennan was the puppet master of the entire scheme to violate the civil liberties of Donald Trump and his team? John Brennan was that guy. John Brennan, Tucker, tweeting today about his principles. I thought it was a joke. I had to check for the blue check mark. John Brennan has no principles. This is a disgraceful human being who nearly destroyed the reputation of the intelligence community. Tucker, on August 25th of 2016, John Brennan himself, this is a fact, it's public record, went and briefed Harry Reid up on the Hill about elements in the dossier that then made it into a letter from Harry Reid to the FBI that was used as a predicate to spy on the Trump team. And we're supposed to trust this guy? This guy should get off Twitter and hire a lawyer.
Well, but I also thought we were supposed to be impressed by him. I mean, I don't call me naive, but I grew up imagining the heads of our intel agencies were sophisticated and intelligent. Everything I have ever read by John Brennan is banal. It's a cliche, it's pompous, it's stupid. He doesn't seem like an impressive person. How did he wind up running the most powerful intel agency in the world? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, because when I worked in the White House, I remember crossing paths with Brennan and found him to be a narcissistic fool, just like he is now. This man is really a disgrace and a stain on the United States, whose legacy will only be as a cautionary tale told to future CIA leaders about how not to act. Tucker, keep in mind too, back as far back as 2015, left-wing reporters, because they thought they had a Trump collusion conspiracy, which never existed, were reporting on Brennan's contacts with foreign intel about Trump and his relationship with the Russians that never came to fruition. Suspiciously, some of those foreign intelligence heads resigned right after the Donald Trump election, rather abruptly. They were communicating with John Brennan, who, by the way, also is on the record saying on TV with Chuck Todd and others and in media appearances that he still has no hard evidence of collusion, yet he weaponized the government in order to attack Donald Trump. He needs to slither away quickly.
How's the next president going to deal with this? I mean, now that the veil has been removed and we have some sense of what's going on beneath, will any president ever trust any intel agency ever again not to undermine him?
You know, Tucker, I'm not sure about that, and that's really what upsets me. Having served under 2 Democratic presidents as a Secret Service agent, and listen, I'm a sinner like everyone else. I'm not looking for your pat on the back or anyone in your audience. The taxpayers paid me well to do it. I never once thought, even in my own books, about taking a personal shot at Barack Obama using my experiences. Never. You just don't do that. When you sign up for public service, no less run the CIA, and then you turn around and turn to Twitter to attack the sitting president? No, he's a stain on the country. We deserve better than this.
I think that's right. Dan, thank you very much for that.
He was never for this country. That's the whole thing. Brennan was never for the country. Neither was Obama. Yet Dan Bongino said, I never went against him. Okay, so it depends on what kind of a person you are, and we know where Brennan's ties are and his, what he believes in. We know Brennan's beliefs, and that's why he's a traitor to this country. And when Bongino said he should slither away or something, I say lock him up. He should have been more forthcoming and say the guy lied, and he should be locked up for what he did to this country. He committed treason against this country. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.